Welcome to The Daily Show.
Thank you.
Congratulations on a book that has made you the enemy of billionaires all over the world.
Right.
You are a foolish man.
Right.
Why would you write a book that basically accuses billionaires of being like fake good people as philanthropists? What does that even mean?
There was no good reason to do it, except that it was true. You know, we live in this time, and I was thinking about it when we were talking about the president, because he's kind of an example of this. He had a fake foundation. They're not all fake. But we live in this time in which rich people, you can't walk down the street in Manhattan or other parts of the country without bumping into a rich person who's trying to change the world, right? Mark Zuckerberg's trying to change the world. Elon Musk is going to try to change the world. Jeff Bezos changing the world. They're all changing the world. More money being given away than has ever been given away in the history of the world.
Right.
Young people, all, elite graduates, elite campuses. We want to go to Africa, start a social enterprise, turning recycled poop into coffee.
Right.
With tote bags. Bono is involved, the
Yes.
red iPhone case you get for free. And the question is, why is it that this era of extraordinary elite generosity, which is real, happens to coincide with an age of extraordinary elite hoarding? The very same class of billionaires and plutocrats who do so much to give and constantly talk about how much they give have a monopoly on the future in this country. The 1% in this country takes 49% of new income.
Yeah.
Half the new income. And imagine if all the new income in this studio audience went to one person, right? Half of it. Imagine if another true statistic, the 0.1%, owns more wealth than the bottom 80% of people in this country.
Right.
The bottom half of people in this country on average have not gotten a raise, as many of you may know, in 40 years.
Right.
And so the question then becomes, what's the relationship between all this nice stuff elites do and this elite predation? And the relationship that I discovered when I reported this book was that it's these nice deeds, this sprinkling of nice deeds that help us uphold a system in which rich people can monopolize the future, hoard progress, and kill the American dream. And not satisfied with that, they're trying to kill the planet now, too.
Okay, but let's go back on this. So you're saying that people hoard the money, all right? But now everyone here tries to keep the money that they make. I mean, I think that is like a logical thing that human beings do. You get the money, you keep the money. No one gets the money from like work and then is like, meh. You get what I'm saying? So when you're saying that they're hoarding the money, people would go like, yes, but Anand, that's the American dream. You work hard and then you make your money. Why is that a problem, or why do you think that that is a paradox with the public giving that they're doing?
I think a simpler way to say what you're saying, which I agree with, is that Plute's gonna Plute. I even have the shirt.
Okay.
Plute's gonna Plute.
Yes, which
they're
means?
They're gonna fight for their interests.
Okay.
The plutocrats are gonna do what's good for plutocrats. You're right. The thing is, this is not feudal England. So we actually have systems that are designed to keep them in check, because you're right. People are gonna fight for their own interests.
Right.
And when you have people who have such vast fortunes that they have the power as monopolies to decide which way our elections go, which is a power Mark Zuckerberg frankly has. When you have someone who has the power to dictate whether workers have to pee in a bottle to be able to, survive and make productivity at their company. When you have people with so much power over consumers, you can't just say the hoarding impulse is going to be the hoarding impulse. You have to tax people properly. Taxes, taxes, taxes. You have to regulate people properly. You have to have a minimum wage that actually allows people who have no leverage against these billionaires to have the shared leverage that we all have, which is through a government negotiating for us. People don't understand. People denigrate the government. Over the last 40 years, we've lived in this country under an ideology that says government is bad, wealth creation is good. You know what the government is? The government is like a lawyer who represents all of us, right? And rich people are not all good or all bad the way you or me or anybody else is all good or all bad. But when rich people start to make money by underpaying people systemically, make money by, frankly, avoiding taxation in any way they can, hiding money, make money by employing people insecurely, you're a contractor, you work at Uber, but you don't really work at Uber, you do all of that. It's time for the advocate for all of us, the government, to actually fight on our behalf.
But now here's the thing. There are many billionaires, right? You say the elite charade of changing the world. But there are many billionaires who have come out publicly and said, hey, we should be paying more tax as billionaires. We want to be taxed higher. Like Warren Buffett has come out many times saying, guys, my personal assistant pays a higher tax rate than I do, which is not fair. So if the billionaires are saying we should be paying more tax, then why would you say that it's a charade, or why do you say that they're part of the problem?
those billionaires are saying the right thing. Now, what is interesting, some of the people you mentioned, if you double-click on some of what they actually do in their life, what they do is they say, we should pay higher income tax. You know, they call their accountant immediately when they're off the CNBC air, and they say, hey, Bob, just make sure I have only wealth accumulation this year, capital gains, no income increase. Because you can do that when you're rich. You can just shuffle things around. So, you know, if you look at Warren Buffett and others, they say higher income taxes, but they don't have a lot of income, but because they, you know, put it over there in the investment
like
pile.
your shares give you the money and that's taxed at a lower rate. Yes.
And I think what we don't realize in this country, I mean, now we're heading into the election season, and we're starting to have a bunch of candidates who in various ways would at least gesture to what I'm talking about, right? Inequality is bad, we got to rebuild the middle class. But part of why I wrote the book, and part of why I hope it's relevant as we head into the election, is a lot of the people who sound similar when they're talking about fixing this problem are actually quite different. And I think of the book as a set of infrared lenses to actually understand who's peddling real change and who's peddling fake change. Because you look at people who say, gosh, we got to rebuild the middle class, but who also say, as Joe Biden did, you know, nothing's going to fundamentally change for the billionaires in this country. I just have to say, that is an incoherent, and I don't just mean rambling incoherent, as is the Biden way, but is an incoherent, intellectually incoherent theory. Because in this moment, I'm not saying all moments, but in this moment, the people up above are up above because they are stepping on people down below. And the people down below are down below because they are being stepped on. And you cannot say that I want to help the people down below in a way that will change nothing for the people standing on their necks. The same way you couldn't address feudal England, you couldn't address the Downton Abbey world without dealing with why the Granthams are the only people who own that damn castle, so big, right? You couldn't deal with slavery without making things worse for the white plantation owners. You can't, frankly, look at the Me Too world. You can't make things better for women in this world without, frankly, reducing the power of men to have impunity in so many of the spaces you and I and everybody else operate in. Right. Real change involves the loss of power. And at the heart of this book is the idea that there has been an ideology for the last 40 years that is the ideology of win-win. We can empower the least among us. We can help people in Africa. We can help people in Appalachia. And no one has to suffer. The rich people don't have to pay any more taxes. They don't have to be regulated anymore. And it is a lie. It is a lie. The only change worth doing in a moment like this with such inequity is change that will necessarily make the plutocrats less powerful. The answer to a winners-take-all world is almost logically a world in which the winners take less. And as you said, they're not going to sign up for that. It's us acting together, joining things, getting involved in democracy that are going to take change back from the charade.
It's a powerful statement.
Did I convince you yet?
That is a powerful, powerful statement. And I think you're right, but I will keep my billionaire friends. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Winners Take All. Truly a fascinating book that exposes the world we live in today. It's available now. Anand Giridharadas, everybody.